Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are back to OTAs here. We're starting OTAs here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You see there, number 18 walking off. That is Will Howard, soon to be starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers unless Aaron Rodgers' development changes. Then number 2 right there is Mason Rudolph. These guys are currently going through footwork drills. Now we're going to go through a couple of different guys, mainly the running back rooms, linebacker room, a couple of rookies. We have to talk about the wide receiver room because DK Metcalf is not there today, but don't panic, it's technically voluntary. So this guy right here, and this is going to be on a loop real quick, I'll get my monologue out of the way, maybe we'll switch to a different one. I just will preface it with this. Mason Rudolph's a good quarterback. He's actually a super solid quarterback, as you guys are well aware of, and you know what he did in that maybe it was 4-game sample size, including the playoff loss to Buffalo a couple of years back. It's not enough for me. And Mason Rudolph probably will be the day one starter, but I really hope that once again, if Kirk Cousins or Aaron Rodgers is not a member of this franchise for the regular season, there is absolutely nothing to lose with Will Howard starting at least the second half of this upcoming NFL season. But without further ado, we're back here. We haven't made a Steelers video since, I believe, rookie minicamp. So hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with probably way too many Pittsburgh Steelers videos every single week. Also, shout out to all the journalists and beat writers for providing us with these amazing clips. Even just looking at it, like right here, I don't know if you guys can even see my mouse here. The city of Pittsburgh is genuinely a top 5 city, probably closer to top 3, and I used to even live in Chicago, that I've ever been to. But let's get to it. Into everybody else, I do just want to kind of explain why I want Will Howard to be the starter here. You see all the boys getting after it. The thing is this, man, Mason Rudolph can have a Sam Darnold season. All right, so he's number 2 right here, and obviously if you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, you're well aware of Mason Rudolph because it's Mason Rudolph. But my point is, and I had a tweet about this, and I had a couple of Steelers fans, saying, a couple of different opinions. I threw a tweet out saying, what if Mason Rudolph had a Sam Darnold season? Well, if he has a Sam Darnold season, we'll deal with that when it comes. But if Pittsburgh starts off, let's say 2-4, let's say Pittsburgh starts off even 2-5. You could even go 2-6 if you want to get closer to the halfway point. And once again, this is if Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers are not members of this organization. Well, then I see absolutely zero reason as to why you wouldn't give the full total reins to Will Howard. Now, we've talked about all the buzzwords on Twitter. If you're below 22, probably his aura screams at you. But the honest truth to it is, it really does. Will Howard in a Pittsburgh Steelers jersey just fits right. It seems right. It seems like destiny. And this is coming from a Green Bay Packers fan. Maybe I'm speaking out of my element here, but I really think Will Howard could be the franchise QB. And I don't care that it's OTAs and they're just throwing footballs and stretching and going through footwork drills and all that kind of, fun, bland stuff as far as comparing it to live action reps in the regular season. So I get it. It's just kind of faux hype, but I'm telling you, man, there's something special, at least for me, with this guy. So let's get to the rest of the players. As you can see here, or about to see here, we got some wide receivers running through some drills, and I wanted to make a comment because Steelers wide receiver DK Metcalf was not here at OTAs today. Pat Freiermuth did end up saying that DK has been around frequently during the offseason, or the early offseason phases. Like I mentioned, OTAs are voluntary, all right? They're not mandatory. You don't have to be there. Now, obviously, they just traded for DK, and maybe I'm a little bit old school. If this was my Green Bay Packers, I'd be a little bit upset. I'd be a little annoyed if DK wasn't here. It's nothing. It is absolutely nothing. DK could be, doing something else. He could have a prior commitment. I will just say it's day 1 of OTAs, and it's May 27th. I'm not looking into it in any way, shape, or form. And then Pat Freiermuth, like I said, he said DK has been around here. But what I do want to say is I'm a little bit worried about the Steelers wide receiver room now that George Pickens is over in Dallas. I don't particularly love it, no matter if it's Rodgers, Kirk, Mason, or Will Howard. Now, there are contingencies here. DK Metcalf's a phenomenal wide receiver, number 1. Dude's a stud. Dude's an absolute stud. But they're going to treat him like George Pickens last year. They're just going to double team him and make whoever's the quarterback beat him in other ways. And my kind of saving grace here is, first off, I think Robert Woods is a savvy vet, and I think he's a savvy vet in a different way than maybe like an Allen Robinson was, because that was a huge swing and a miss. I think Robert Woods is a guy, statistically, I wouldn't look into anything, but I think Robert Woods is an actual veteran that's going to come in here and give you something, kind of like almost what Scotty Miller did, but like times 3 even. Calvin's fascinating. I mean, Calvin's really a fascinating guy, still super young, still super fast, obviously, kind of just played essentially his rookie season. And I'm not saying the Steelers need to go out there and get, an Amari Cooper, and definitely don't need to go out there and get an Amari Cooper. But the biggest player I am keeping my eye on is going to be Roman Wilson. Not necessarily even in OTAs or preseason, because that, goes without saying, but especially this upcoming year, Roman Wilson really, in my opinion, not trying to be a downer here, that pick really hopeful that hits. All right, just very hopeful that hits. Let's switch it over. Right, so I didn't realize we ranted for 3 minutes in that prior clip. Here we've got running back ball security drill going on at OTAs. You can see Caleb Johnson, the rookie pick out of Iowa, fighting to catch the ball in traffic. The wide receiver room is fascinating because it's littered and loaded with talent. I even messed this up in a couple of Steelers videos during rookie minicamp because that's how deep it is. You've got like Caleb Johnson, the rookie, Jalen Warren, entering, I believe, his final contract season. You got Trey Sermon, who's just kind of resurging here. You've got Kenneth Gainwell as well. And then also, obviously you've got Cordell Patterson, jack of all trades. So the running back room's fascinating. At the end of the day, no matter what guys like Gainwell can do for me, or, if they even make the roster, or Trey Sermon, kind of same thing applies, same philosophy applies there. The point to me is going to be Caleb Johnson and Jalen Warren for next season. And obviously long-term, Caleb Johnson, because I think this dude's a stud. He reminds me in a very similar way to Najee Harris, especially in the category of ball security. You see them working on ball security drills. We know Mike Tomlin has this very high in his priorities, but there was, Najee had a really phenomenal Pittsburgh Steeler tenure, and every time I make a Steelers video or Chargers video on this channel, I get a little bit sad because I kind of forget Najee is no longer with this team, and it's always kind of surprising to me. Not really because of how running backs are viewed in the NFL, but just kind of like an old school mentality of dying on your own sword with your draft picks. But I don't mean that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying it's a new version of a running back room, but it's similar in certain ways, right? But nonetheless, I am excited because I think Caleb's got a little bit more pop than Najee had maybe in the last couple of seasons. So probably going to end it here, folks. Actually, we do have one last clip. Let's do it. Just a little bit of linebacker talk because TJ Watt also was absent for this voluntary session. So that should make you as well feel better about the, if you were stressed for some reason about DK. But you see Alex Highsmith here. The linebacker room's crazy. TJ Watt, Nick Herbig, Cole Holcomb, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Malik Harrison, Jack Sawyer, now Alex Highsmith. I mean, it's just an absolutely absurd linebacker room. This defense is even better than they were last year. The defense is literally loaded, and they just had 3 phenomenal picks with Y.A. Black, Jack Sawyer, and Derek Harmon. I know we've talked about these guys all the time on this channel during rookie minicamp, but I did just want to say this defense has not lost a step in any way, shape, or form. I also can't wait to watch Beanie Bishop get another season here. So, folks, that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you guys want me to, I can cover the whole OTA period for Pittsburgh. I probably will either way. So, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Will Howard and the Steelers quarterback room in general. But we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.